Hello, I am Bricks and Pieces Animation, and welcome to another episode of the Brickfilm Day podcast. This episode, we'll be trying out a slightly new format, in which I will be joined by a Brickfilm Day participant, and we will discuss their background in animation and video making, as well as answering fan questions. The aim of this is to give you guys an impression of who's involved in this great project and what they're all about, so be sure to tell us what you think in the comments once you've finished listening to the cast. Today's guest has received 60 million views on YouTube, has over 70,000 subscribers, and is perhaps best known for his Ninjago Brickfilm series. It's none other than Dan from DTinaglia Studios. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, how are you?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Alright, let's start with the questions. How did you first get into stop motion animation, and what were the main inspirations for doing so?
Well, my first ever inspiration for doing stop motion was my neighbor showed me how to do stop motion, and I liked it a lot, so I decided to start making my own.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's basically where I started. I think I remember my first ever stop motion that I made was a little Lego crab walking across a green base plate, and that was it. Never put it anywhere. This was in, I think, 2008. 7 or 8, so I was very young.
Ooh. You've been doing this for quite a while then.
I have.
What about your neighbour? Does he still do stop motion?
He was a lot older then, and he doesn't. He never really did. He just showed me how.
Alright. Fair enough. So, during the season of your Ninjago series, you upload episodes weekly. So, do you make each episode in advance, or do you create each one from start to finish in a week?
Well, I normally start within 2 weeks of each episode being uploaded. Well, I used to do it weekly. Ever since I've been trying to increase my quality and make them just more well-written overall, I have been changing my production schedule, so I'm not releasing them weekly anymore, because that would lead to them being such low quality.
Yeah, so every other week now. Does that involve writing the screenplay in 2 weeks, or do you write all the episodes in advance and start animating in the 2 weeks?
Well, mostly I would just write it myself during the week or two that I would be developing the episode, but for my summer season, The Twilight Sands, I had a co-writer with me, and then we wrote the episodes together within the 2 weeks. So it normally took like 1 or 2 days to write each script, and we had planned out the entire season plot earlier. But yeah, that's how we wrote it.
Nice. So, I've noticed with most Brickfilm series that I've seen, they have episodes spread out across months or even years due to the amount of time it creates the creator to finish episodes. Mm-hmm. So, do you think having episodes every other week makes it easier to invest in the story and its characters rather than have to wait a long time period for plot points to pay off?
Yeah, I think it definitely makes it easier for people, and I think people always wonder that even though my stop motions weren't very good, and I'll admit that they were pretty bad, for my initial Ninjago season and Legends of Chima series, I still got a lot of viewers and a lot of subscribers off of them. I think it's purely because of the frequency of the uploads, because that's what the YouTube algorithm favors, lots of uploads in a short amount of time, and very frequent uploads. Yeah. So I think that's really the only reason that my channel got popular, so it's weird that I'm abandoning it now, this weekly upload schedule, but it's for the best for quality. So
yeah, I've seen a big improvement in your work recently. I think
you.
The 2 week time period is really paying off.
Yeah, I believe so as well.
You seem great at sticking to a schedule, so I'm wondering, have you ever considered entering any animation contests with tight deadlines such as Thaco Brawl on Bricks in Motion?
I haven't really ever considered it, because a lot of them, well, I tried to enter at least one in the past, and you weren't allowed to use copyrighted characters.
Oh, yeah.
So that was like my first contest I ever entered, and I was like, oh. And they didn't accept mine because it was a Star Wars video. But I haven't really considered that, but I might in the near future.
I think they do accept IP characters now,
really?
Except they do say they would prefer it to be an original story.
Yeah, probably.
So, you have been criticised by some in the past for valuing quantity over quality. Do you feel this is a fair criticism or a little harsh?
I feel it was a fair criticism at first, with my channel in 2015, But I think later on, in 2016 and 2017, the criticism became less and less fair because I really did try to improve, and I still got massive amounts of hate purely because my stop motions got a lot of views and they weren't as high quality as ones getting less views.
Yeah, I think you've shown great improvement, particularly over the last year.
Thank you.
Talking about quality, when making your Ninjago series, which do you value more, story or animation?
Story, definitely. It's equaling out more now, but I will always value the story over, because like even you look at popular animated movies, even if the animation is fantastic, if the story's lackluster, it really isn't as good of a film. And I think that it fares true in all forms of media.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, especially with a narrative-based series like yours. You really need a great story to be invested in this character series.
Yeah, it's really difficult to have a good reaction to your video if the story's bad, even if the animation is great.
I think there are some cases, though, depending on the series, where animation can be more important. For example, like I've seen some people do like battle royale type series where different characters face off against each other each episode.
Animation is very, very important if you're going for, or it becomes more important than story if the story isn't very important. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, totally. It just really comes down to what you're trying to achieve.
Yep.
Your upcoming entry in your Ninjago Brickfilm series, The Future Is Now, is set in a sci-fi dystopian type setting. So why did you choose this as a location, and were there any inspirations involved?
Well, this movie was mainly created because of one of my favorite films of all time, which is the original Blade Runner. And as lots of you know, Blade Runner 2049 came out this year. And while the hype was building for that, I decided that I love the whole cyberpunk universe that Blade Runner has, and I wanted to make my own kind of thing. So even the first shot of this movie, it references that this is inspired by Ridley Scott, Philip K. Dick, and Denis Villeneuve, who are directors of the old and new Blade Runner and the writer of the original book, because I've been so heavily inspired by those movies for this new setting.
Yeah, I could tell from your trailer, it does look very Blade Runner-esque.
Yeah, I'm releasing a new trailer, and it has a shot that's inspired by 2049 as well, so be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, those movies are really beautifully shot as well, especially 2045. That's some of the best cinematography I've seen.
I can agree on that.
Now, you've made a lot of Brickfilms, but out of all of them, which one would you say you're most proud of? It can be a favourite one, or one you're just really proud you completed.
I'm really proud that I completed the Twilight Sands season, because that was probably my most ambitious project ever, because unlike any of my past Ninjago seasons, it wasn't based on a line of sets that LEGO released. So I had to do all the story myself, come up with all the storyline elements with my co-writer, of course. But like in DTinaglia Studios, we had to do it without LEGO's input at all. Pretty funny, but yeah, so that was my most ambitious project, so I'm very, very proud that I completed a season like that.
I think it's one of your best stories, and I especially like the setting and the aesthetic, and I think you've pulled up some great looking shots with the environment and lighting.
Thank you.
So, you're obviously a large Ninjago fan, so I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on the Lego Ninjago movie, assuming you have seen it.
I have seen it, yeah. It was really, really great, in my opinion. It wasn't... I feel like the only downfall the movie had is what the show is built up. Because it reflects a lot of things that Ninjago should be and is, but it does them so differently from what the show is that it seemed foreign to so many people, and even to me at some parts, and that's why I feel like it got such a lackluster review from hardcore fans. I feel like hardcore fans liked it less than mediocre fans of the season, or the series. So I thought it was good, but it wasn't core Ninjago. It was a new Ninjago, which was off-putting to some.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's got to try and appeal for a more wider audience, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually seen it yet. I'd like to at some point, except it didn't really appeal to me the way from the trailer, so it's the Lego movie and Lego Batman movie did. But What I really like about these Lego movies is how they make it look like, even though it's CGI, they make it look almost stop motion-esque.
I love that.
Yeah, I just love the production value of the animation, using brick built special effects out of Lego bricks. Love the lighting and especially the imperfections on the minifigures, like those little details like scratches and fingerprints. I just love all that.
Yeah, if you like the look of the Lego movies, you're gonna love the Ninjago movie, because I think it has the best animation so far out of all the movies. It's absolutely beautiful.
So, has this aesthetic style influenced or inspired your work at all?
The movie, not really. I think I've just gone a completely different way. I just like exploring. My favorite thing to do in a season is to explore something that I haven't before, setting-wise. So, like, that's why I did the desert in the Twilight Sands, because it's just something I've never done before in detail. And I feel like the Ninjago movie had a lot of jungle things, and I feel like that's pretty vanilla when it comes to Ninjago, because there's been so many jungles so far in the series. So that's why I'm trying the futuristic city thing rather than doing something inspired by the movie.
I think that could be quite an interesting concept, because you've got something like ninjas are often associated with an ancient medieval-esque background setting. It'd be interesting to see them in a more Blade Runner-esque future city.
Yeah, and it's the main goal of the movie, The Future Is Now, is to show what happens after Ninjago. So it's really post Ninjago. It's 40 years later, and it's only a few of the characters are still remaining. So it's just seeing like what's the outcome of that, because I really like exploring that element of the story.
Sounds a little bit like Logan.
Yeah, it's pretty much Logan and Blade Runner and Ninjago all mixed up. Pretty odd mix, but I'll see if I can make it work. Thank you.
Sounds interesting. So one thing I've noticed about your channel is that you're really great at interacting with your fan base, regularly hosting scavenger hunts and even comment questions at the end of each episode.
That's super important to me.
Yeah. How important do you feel your subscribers and followers are to your success?
Well, they're incredibly important, because it wouldn't exist without them. I mean, I just really, really like all of them, and I'm very grateful that they watch my videos at all. And I just think that's why interacting with them is important. That's why I answer the 15, 20 DM requests I get every few days. I like to talk to fans as much as I can. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think that's a good mentality to have, especially with a large following like you do. So,
yeah.
Does this large following create any pressure at times?
It does. It definitely does, especially during the school year when I'm trying to do the weekly things. I just think it's really hard to get out the videos sometimes, especially on the weekly schedule. That was probably the most stressful time for my channel. In the middle of my... Why am I forgetting what it's called? My Hands of Time season, whatever it was called. I've no idea why I'm forgetting this. Splinter in Time, that's what it was called. Wow, okay. But yeah, during the middle of Splinter in Time, I had to delay 2 episodes, and that was just really bad. It was super stressful, so that was probably my worst, and that's what really drove me to switch to the 2-week schedule.
Do you feel that's working out better now, the 2-week schedule?
Well, I've only done 1 season with it, which was Twilight Sands, and I think it worked out really well for that, because the episodes were all kind of longer, and I accomplished a storyline in a shorter time. Well, it lasted a longer time in our actual chronological time for real life. So I think it was good what I did with the 2-week schedule. Yeah.
So The Future Is Now, is that going to be a series, or is it going to be one long film?
It's probably just going to be one long film, unless I really, really want to keep going with that and make it something else, which is what I did with my second Ninjago movie, Curse of Moro. It was supposed to be just a movie, but then I liked it so much that I turned it into a season, and that's how my series started. So I'm not sure about this one, but there's definitely going to be a movie.
Great. I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
You've inspired many people to make their own Brickfilms, so do you have any advice for any animators starting up?
Yeah, it's really important to mess with your camera settings and try to find a setting that will allow you to take pictures with low light flicker, because light flicker is a problem for lots of animators, and it's surprisingly easy to get rid of it, and all it takes is just a lot of experimentation with your camera settings. So it's really helpful to get to know your camera, the settings inside and out, so you can help with any problems like that.
Yeah, I'd say that's good advice. I struggled with light flicker myself for quite a while.
Yeah, so did I.
Whilst we're on the topic of cameras, what sort of equipment do you use to create your videos?
Well, I have a lot of lights. I have
That always helps.
yeah, just a ton of desk lamps I have. And I have lots of ones that are little that you can angle around so I can get light from the side. Especially you'll notice in my finale for the Twilight Sands. I have blue light coming from one side of the screen and red light coming from the top and then yellow light coming from the right side. And it really makes the characters pop a lot. I remember Brotherhood Workshop one time in a behind the scenes video.
Yeah.
They were talking about how it's very important to have your characters backlit to make them stand out against the background, and I've just taken that to heart and really used lots of lamps, not only from the top and the front, but from the sides.
Yeah,
So that's some of my important equipment, the lights.
when I first saw Twilight Sands, I remember being really impressed with the lighting, especially in the finale.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of lighting changes there. And then I have a Canon Rebel T5, that's my camera. And then I edit on Adobe Premiere Pro.
Nice. Do you have an animation software which you use to take all the pictures in, or do you upload them afterwards?
Well, it's an interesting case for me because my camera and my set are on the second floor of my house in my bedroom, and my computer where I do my editing is in my basement. So I can't get it hooked up between those two. I don't have a computer in my room. So what I have to do is take all the pictures there, upstairs, at my set, and then I bring my camera downstairs and put it in an animation software called iStopMotion 3. It's a really good software for just compiling your photos that you've taken for your stop motion into a single video clip. So that's my process.
I used to use a similar method, except about a year ago now I got really useful having a live view of what you're... So it's much easier to fix a mistake, but even if you aren't using a live view, you can still get some really great results. And I feel and sometimes it can help not having a live view, because with a live view you're always, for me at least, I'm always trying to perfect each shot in relation to the last. Not having that there, I would get work done a lot more quicker. Sometimes take too long on each shot.
Yeah, I think for me, the live view might help because I really make it important in my series and now this movie. The blocking of my shots and how the characters are organized and the framework in the shots and the cinematography, I think, is one of my favorite things to do with stop motion. So I think having a live view might help with that a little bit more, but I still think my cinematography has improved even without a live view. Oh yeah,
definitely. So the Ninjago Brickfilm community is known to be quite separate from the other Brickfilm communities online. Why do you think this is?
I don't know, I feel like it's just it's mainly probably the age groups, because a lot of animators for superheroes and Star Wars are much older than the Ninjago animators, and I feel like it's very separated because a lot of this is coming from me, an interesting point of view on this, because of how much quote-unquote fun interaction I've had with this superhero Brickfilm community. A lot of them I don't know if they still do, really disliked me and, in extension, the whole Ninjago Brickfilm community. They think we're all just kids that rage about everything. So, yeah, it's interesting thinking about what they think of us.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say, from my experience at least, that there's a widespread, quote-unquote, hatred towards the Ninjago Brickfilmers. I just think that there seems to be a perception surrounding them that, to some extent, they're generally less mature and maybe don't put as much effort into the films, which I think is a little unfair, because the same criticisms apply to a lot of people from different sub-communities, including the superhero Brickfilm community. And your work has almost become, for want of a better word, meme / inside joke particularly some of your older work regarding the use of freeze frames in your videos.
Yeah, I know I've
To
become a
with
meme.
some people.
I'm not a fan of the fact that I'm a meme. But it
Alright,
happens.
so not a lot you can do.
Yeah.
So, of course, this is a Brickfilm Day podcast. So, do you have any plans for any projects for Brickfilm Day in February?
In February, I think I'm going to be probably release a Ninjago episode for Brickfilm Day and it's going to be for an upcoming season I'm working on, and I'm really going to try out a lot of new techniques and software, new software for it. So I'm really excited for that.
All right. So now on to fan questions from your Instagram page. Just before we get into them, I just want to say we've had over 150 questions, so unfortunately we are unable to answer all of them, so please don't be upset if we didn't get around to yours. So the first question comes from C Meeks, who I haven't heard from him for a while actually, but he was one of my first subscribers.
He's a good friend.
Yeah,
he's a good friend.
He entered my 50 subscriber contest. That was years ago now, but he asked, which future goals do you have for your channel?
I think my main goal is just making my videos look more and more professional. That's definitely my main overall goal.
Is that in terms of cinematography or animation?
Cinematography, animation, storytelling, everything.
So more of a visual perspective.
Yeah, just like make it look more and more like an actual Hollywood production.
Whilst I think we both agree that the story is usually more important, the visuals and cinematography, lighting, special effects, etc. can really boost your production value and really help take your film to the next level.
Yeah.
Next question is also from C Meeks. I hope I'm saying that right.
It's See Me X.
See Me X.
Yeah,
right.
Or something like that.
Okay. So he also asks, what is the experience you've gained in life that you consider most valuable?
My most valuable experience was probably with the Twilight Sands, and I already talked about it a lot, but I think writing my own Ninjago season with help from my co-writer, Douglas, UE Productions is his username on Instagram and YouTube, but he helped me a lot, but I think it was a great experience for both of us to write our own season and really put ourselves in the shoes of the Ninjago writers and find out how difficult it is to write this kind of thing.
Is that something you're going to take on board for future installments?
Yes, indeed.
Great. So, next question is from Snowy_Griffin. What's your favourite Lego theme besides Ninjago and Barnacle?
My favorite is probably Adventures/Orient Expedition.
Oh yeah.
I really,
is that Johnny
really love
Thunder?
Those. Yeah, Johnny Thunder. I love those sets. I use them a lot in my Ninjago stop motions. That's also one of my things that, well, this is just something I want to talk about real quick, is that I love using old Lego sets in my new Ninjago stop motion. So I use a lot of Orient Expedition sets because I just think they're so great, and more people need to know about how well they work for themes, and themes that are around today like Ninjago. I just think they fit in so well, and there's no reason they shouldn't be used.
Yeah, and I think something about them, the designs are more simpler. It's just they seem more classic Lego, and
yeah, I agree.
Although I don't actually own any of the adventure sets, unfortunately, I've seen images of them, and some of them look really awesome.
They're all great. I love the Adventures line. Pharaoh's Quest was little, but it was so fun for me. I loved the Adventures line, and they fit in really well together. And I love how I'm thinking of Dino. Never mind, because in Lego Dino they had a character named Josh Thunder, which is related to Johnny Thunder. But yeah, I was thinking about Jake Rains, who's the main character of Pharaoh's Quest. I got really into Pharaoh's Quest, so I just love the adventure themes and wish they would
I have some.
come out more.
I think I've got one set from the Pharaoh's Quest.
Yeah, Pharaoh's Quest.
Wasn't Johnny Thunder in one of the Lego movie sets, if I remember correctly?
He was. That was great. In the Super Secret Police dropship.
Nice little Easter egg there.
Yeah.
Joshua MTND Studios asks, do you plan on making stop motions with different things other than Lego?
Probably not. If I'm going to stick with stop motion, I'm going to stick with Lego. And then if I do something else, it's going to be... If I do anything live action, of course it's going to be live action.
Yeah.
For stop motion, I'm probably just going to always stick with Lego.
Yeah, I think what's so great about using Lego as a stop motion medium is you can create whatever you want with the sets. You don't really need the large budget.
Yeah.
So if you were to do like claymation, it can be quite expensive because really to make a high quality claymation, if you're using puppets, you really need armatures.
Yeah.
And although you can get some cheaper ones for about 20 quid, they're not very high quality and you've got to assemble them all yourself, which can be quite difficult, especially for newcomers.
Definitely.
And to get a decent one, you're looking around 150 quid. That's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Although, you know, the Lego buildable figures, like they've done a lot of Star Wars ones, like Barnacle.
Yeah, I love the construction.
Yeah, I'm experimenting with using the base of those as an armature. Yeah, I think that could work quite well. It's definitely a lot cheaper as an option.
I agree.
UE Productions Lego.
He was my co-writer. That's who he is.
Oh, was he?
Yes.
He asks, what's one scrapped idea you've had for a Brickfilm which you wish you could have used?
That's a really good question. I think a scrapped idea... I was going to make a Lego Pacific Rim type movie.
Oh, yeah?
Right after I saw that. So I was going to use the Hero Factory Invasion from Below sets.
Oh, yeah.
But switch out the robots for minifigures because they still fit in the seats.
Oh, yeah.
So that was my original plan, and I worked on it for a little while. I actually did release a trailer for it, but then I canceled it. So.
Why was that? Was it time, or was it proving too difficult?
It was time. My animation with large figures wasn't as good back then, so I kind of lost interest in it.
Yeah. I think if you're beginning in animation, you should start using minifigures before you progress into like Barnacle type figures, because
definitely
they can be a pain to stand up and keep in the same spot.
To balance them.
So, final question from Elemental Bricks. Favorite YouTuber of all time?
Favorite YouTuber of all time? I honestly can't decide. I think my favorites are probably Hello Greedo, Star Wars YouTuber. Yeah, he's great. I was watching his videos earlier, actually. Yeah. It's a great YouTuber. I love Channel Awesome, Nostalgic Critic. It's probably Channel Awesome, I think. Yeah, that's probably mine. What sort of videos they do? I've heard of them. I haven't really watched them. They do some really, really great movie reviews. Oh, yeah. And all stuff like that, and like top 10 lists and stuff. And recently they just celebrated their 10th anniversary as a YouTube channel, which is just crazy. So they've been around for a very long time, and they just consistently make great ones. And they only recently passed 1 million subscribers, though. So yeah, I'll have to check them out. So, final segment, Brickfilm recommendations. So the Brickfilm I've recommended, of course, as you're known for your Ninjago films, this week I've selected Ninjago Brickfilm. It was one of the entries into the greatest villain of all time in Ninjago reboot contest. Yeah. And it's Lego Ninjago: A Sharky Surprise by Pongo. Not sure whether you've seen that one. I think I have. Yeah, it's where the green ninja, I can't remember his name. Sorry. Lloyd? Yeah, Lloyd, that's it. Fights a shark. A little random, but yeah. The cinematography is really, really nice in that. Really beautiful shots, and the animation's great. It's not perfectly lifelike, except it's good, but still recognizable as stop motion, if you know what I mean. Yeah. You know, it gives it an added charm, sort of in the theme of the Lego movie. Yeah. And if I were to have one criticism of it, it was the ending seems a little rushed. Just
the fight doesn't really have a conclusion.
Yeah.
Like almost like you ran out of time for the contest, but aside from that, it's a really enjoyable, fun Brickfilm short.
Yeah.
And it's only 1 minute long, so it's not really in it.
Contest entries, very short.
Yeah. So it won't take much of your time to check it out.
Alright. I think my recommendation is, I'm pretty sure you guys all know, Brotherhood Workshop.
Of course.
Everyone knows Brotherhood Workshop. I think my favorite video of theirs is their music video for this band Home Free.
Oh, yeah.
They did a music video for the song Crazy Life, and it's so great because it tells a story, and it's not licensed. It's not based on, and they don't do many non-licensed videos, Brotherhood Workshop. So I thought that was great, and the animation, as always, is fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's a really great example of visual storytelling rather than, telling a story through images rather than lots of expedition and dialogue. I think that can be a great tool to use.
Yeah, definitely.
So, anyway, thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, definitely, it was great.
Have a good rest of the day. See you soon.
Yeah, man.
Thank you guys for listening. Please let us know what you thought and whether you would be interested in more podcasts from us. If so, let us know what Brickfilm Day participants you would like to see on the podcast. A list of participants can be found on our YouTube channel under the channel section. Again, thank you so much for listening and see you next time.